Foi outro. Mas os caras que...
Meu Deus do céu, que confusão.
Zé Minhoca.
The clip begins by showing us CCTV footage of prisoners being asked to clean the prison hallway while the guards watch them. At first, everything seems to be normal, except when the atmosphere suddenly changes as something extremely horrifying happens. Prison escapes occur sporadically, with estimates ranging from a few dozen to 100 or more attempts worldwide each year, capturing attention due to their dramatic nature. The prisoners can be seen holding the terrified guards hostage, threatening knives into their sides, making sure the guards are left immobile. Every day, prison guards are on a constant lookout for prisoners plotting their escape, which endangers their lives and others in the process. The clip ends abruptly, and it's unknown whether or not the attempt was successful. What was supposed to be a normal day in prison suddenly becomes dangerously exciting after prison guards stumble upon something unexpected.
Pimentel, de 25 anos, preso há 2 semanas por furto, tentou escapar por espaço que permite a ventilação nas celas e ficou preso. Ele ficou...
Being stuck in a tight space for a prolonged period can lead to physical discomfort, restricted circulation, muscle cramps, and potentially serious medical complications. The prisoner, stuck in the tight gap he is in, attempts to reason with the officers after getting caught red-handed, trying to escape. Prison escapes can be dangerous due to the potential for violence or harm to law enforcement officers, inmates, and the public during pursuit or apprehension. After realizing that he no longer has any other choice, he finally decides to give up and surrender to the officer below. Doing this,
Situação aí por uns 10 minutos até que conseguiu se soltar e pulou de uma altura de cerca de 3 metros. Aí ele, ferido, foi levado para o hospital, mas já voltou para o...
Fortunately, law enforcement catches the escape attempt in time, stopping it immediately. In this intense clip, a prisoner finds himself in literally deep trouble after he does something that he should have thought of twice.
Sai daí, rapaz! Sai daí! Se vira, se tu entrou, como é que não vai sair?
Escaping prison using a toilet is a popular trope in fiction, but is highly improbable in reality due to strict security measures and surveillance. Police officers and other inmates record and laugh at the prisoner trying to escape through a very dirty and small toilet. His Shawshank Redemption-style escape is quickly foiled after he realizes that there is no way he could fit through the hole.
Pera aí! Sai daí! Ei, pela puxa ele aqui. Puxa ele aí.
While it's a common trope in movies and TV shows, in reality, escaping through a toilet hole is highly unlikely due to its small size and structural limitations. 2 guys quickly catch him attempting to escape, and they decide to put a stop to his plan after everybody realizes that he is stuck. In the end, he finally gets pulled out of his predicament, completely covered in excrement. A policewoman can be seen walking around cell to cell, delivering food for the prisoners through a small food slot in the door.
I had started over in our D pod and I was working my way around, so I was the only one in the pod when I got to A.
Going through this daily routine, the police officer isn't really that concerned about this routine feeding, as the doors are slammed shut. What was supposed to be a routine feeding of the prisoners quickly turned disastrous, with surveillance footage capturing this.
His tray slot popped open, and within about 4 seconds, he was out and on his feet. I took off, running to the main.
In some cases, prisoners have attempted to escape through food slots, but it's rare and challenging due to the small size and security measures typically in place. The female officer immediately bolts off running in order to avoid getting harmed by the very aggressive prisoner. The clip ends with the prisoner chasing the officer, leaving us to guess what happens next. CCTV footage shows a group of prisoners making their way to the prison yard using a hole they discovered that was connected to their cells.
Ele vai bem no pé da laje aqui, o Ceará, ó, bem no pezinho da laje, pode ver.
Ele que é o líder.
Aí ele sai arrastado aqui, ó. Aí ele vai lá na nova pegar a porra.
Some prison systems are poorly designed, exhibiting issues like overcrowding, inadequate resources, insufficient rehabilitation programs, and ineffective management, leading to various problems and challenges. After getting access to the prison yard, the prisoners quickly devise a plan to escape the prison, eventually leading them to do this.
Esse camisa vermelha não consigo saber quem é ainda.
O Bacuzinho aqui que vocês deram tiro no pescoço dele lá, um assalto dele.
Aquele camisa azul lá que tava com o cara que eu falei.
Hopeful after getting outside their cells successfully, they immediately scout around to try and find ways to escape the prison finally. Moments later, their situation quickly turns upside down after their plan is foiled, leading to this very terrifying and intense scene. The cops stop the escape attempt just in time, putting the prisoners back in their cells. This frightening escape attempt starts with a CCTV capturing a man walking towards a line of parked cars outside a prison. At first, it is unclear what the man's plan is, but moments later, the truth eventually comes out after he does something unexpected. Unfortunately, it is still unknown how this prisoner managed to break into this car with ease or how he got out in the first place. The escaped prisoner who tried to act calm gets busted stealing a car outside the prison, leading to this very intense scene. Jumping out of a moving car is incredibly risky, often leading to severe injuries or fatalities due to the high risk of impact and trauma. The escapee falls to the ground after jumping out of the car, ending his plans. A prisoner can be seen recording the inside of his cell, already raising a huge red flag on the security of this prison. Cellular phones are not allowed in prison, and considering this inmate managed to sneak his phone inside, it already sets the bar low for the security. A few seconds later, a bunch of prisoners in the same cell crowd the iron bars as they attempt to do the unthinkable. Prison escapes occur in other countries, but vary in frequency depending on factors like security measures and societal conditions. The video continues to capture the prisoners rushing to escape their cells, doing so as fast as possible to avoid getting caught. Many prisoners appear out of nowhere to take advantage of the chaos, escaping as well. This next clip shows a group of police officers and cameras crowding a woman when, all of a sudden, a shocking truth is revealed.
Os cabelos compridos, na verdade, são peruca, vestido longo, sapatos femininos e até maquiagem. Vestir-se de mulher foi a estratégia.
Trying his luck, this prisoner decides to dress up as a woman to try and escape prison, resembling a skit from a comedy show. What he thought was going to be a quick and foolproof escape plan quickly turns to shambles after police officers immediately smell something fishy.
Odenir Guimarães, em Aparecida de Goiânia.
Isso aí acontece, é no muro, é vestir de mulher, a alegria do preso é a liberdade, como eu falei.
Para sair da penitenciária.
The man is left with no choice but to surrender to the officers to avoid getting into more trouble than he is already in. Escaping from prison using a disguise is extremely difficult due to strict security protocols and frequent inmate checks.
Os penitenciários, a roupa muito colorida e o jeito de andar despertaram a atenção. Marcos foi condenado a quase 8 anos de prisão por crimes como homicídio.
Thankfully, he was caught in time, this criminal off the streets once more. Prisoners can be seen roaming the prison courtyard with only a tall wall separating them from the outside world. Low security prisons can be dangerous due to the potential for inmate violence, contraband circulation, and escapes facilitated by less stringent security measures. Going back to this intense video, the prison yard eventually clears, and one prisoner decides to take his chance doing this. In a twist of events, the white car suspiciously parked outside the walls turns out to be this escapee's ride to freedom. After getting inside the car, the driver immediately steps on the gas and gets a head start on the cops, making it harder to track this prisoner. It is unknown whether this escaped prisoner gets caught after his escape. Taking his steps slowly and as quietly as possible, this prisoner avoids getting detected as he continues to make his way to the exit. He even avoids detection by the police officers next door just by crawling on all fours, resembling a level in a video game. A few moments later, after a slow but sure pace toward the prison exit, he finally achieves something no prisoner could ever dream of. Seeing this, it's really concerning how there are no further security measures to ensure that prisoners aren't able to sneak their way out of prison. The speed of tracking down escaped prisoners depends on various factors such as available resources, cooperation from the public, and the nature of the escape. CCTV footage captures the man successfully escaping and running away. Prisoners and police officers get into a very dangerous and violent war with one another, leading to this very intense and terrifying scene. It's hard for police officers to control all the inmates while being outnumbered, so they use the prison architecture to their advantage during fights like this. The video, being recorded by a police officer inside the prison, shows the terrifying reality of what goes on inside violent prisons.
Olha a situação, Brasil dentro do presídio.
Prison fights occur periodically, but are relatively common occurrences due to the tense and confined environment within correctional facilities. The officers can be seen shooting at the prisoners inside the yard, while the prisoners try their best to fight back using whatever they can.
Que isso é bala de borracha que estão atirando para bala de borracha. Meu Deus do céu, que
Prison riots often start due to grievances over conditions, mistreatment, or disputes among inmates, escalating into violence or disturbances within the facility. The clip ends with the prisoners still trying to hide from the bullets. A prison camera records prisoners inside their cells, resting as rain pours down on the yard when, all of a sudden, the peace is broken. One prisoner tries his luck by climbing one of the pillars in an attempt to escape while no cops are looking.
Câmeras de segurança. Chovia no momento em que os presos saíram da cela. A imagem mostra um deles tentando escalar uma coluna. Na sequência,
he fails to do this, but still decides to continue his escape by rallying more prisoners to help in his escape.
Mas a fuga foi abortada pelos agentes e policiais de plantão. A Secretaria de Justiça do Estado informou por meio de nota que reconhece que...
The news report continues to show other prisoners deciding to help and escape from their cells after seeing the first prisoner. If caught trying to escape prison, consequences typically include additional criminal charges, extended sentences, and placement in higher security facilities. Unfortunately, this doesn't stop other prisoners from trying to escape. Being escorted on the way to prison, a man is left with no choice but to comply with the cop escorting him to avoid getting into more trouble. The cop then puts handcuffs on the detainee while escorting him outside. Little does he know this detainee has other plans in mind. The man proceeds to slip his hands out of the cuffs, hiding this from his police escort, looking for the right time to start his escape. Still oblivious to the fact that his detainee is free of his cuffs, the police officer leads the man outside for transportation, only for this to happen. Like any profession, some individuals within law enforcement may be susceptible to deception, but it varies greatly among officers and is not inherent to the profession. Escaping prison is illegal and can lead to severe consequences, including longer sentences, endangering oneself and others, and harming chances of rehabilitation. He gets caught shortly after his attempt after he runs into a dead end. While watching this video, I want you to look at this prison cell and the door securing it and tell me how you can escape from this cell. If you think there is no way to escape this cell without breaking anything, continue watching and see how easy it really is.
A porta aberta lá. Tá aberta, você não quer fugir?
Então vai lá, volta de novo.
Lá, volta de novo.
Pariu, bicho, tá de sacanagem.
Prison cells should be secure to prevent escapes, protect inmates from harm, and maintain order within the correctional facility. Unfortunately, this prison didn't take into account people fitting through the gap in the prison door bars, as shown in this demonstration. It just goes to show the need for prison systems to always test their security measures to ensure that no prisoners are able to escape. Hopefully, no prisoners will see this and decide to try this trick for themselves. A camera footage showing the outside of a prison captures something that you would only expect to see in a movie.
Nesta sexta-feira, houve a primeira tentativa de fuga após a instalação de 9 câmeras de vídeo monitoramento no entorno do Instituto Penal de Novo Hamburgo. Detento pulou o muro, mas foi capturado.
Successfully climbing the prison walls is one thing. Avoiding the barbed wires and sharp broken glass lined throughout the walls is another. One scratch from the sharp wires or broken glass can easily lead this prisoner to panic from the pain, or even worse, fall from the wall. This doesn't discourage this prisoner though, as he sees his freedom right in front of him, calling for him to do this.
Pulou o muro, mas foi capturado a 2 quadras do local, pois sua ação foi vigiada pelas câmeras. A Superintendência dos Serviços Penitenciários, SUSEP, acionou imediatamente a brigada.
In general, prison walls can range from 10 to 30 feet in height, depending on the facility's security level and location. After this incident, they should really consider increasing the height of the prison's walls. Again, you'd think that a prison holding dangerous prisoners would have better security than just a steel wire. We expect prisons to keep us safe from violent and dangerous criminals by using top-of-the-line security measures, and not just this. Recording his fellow prisoners, he records a dangerous escape attempt, which is something that you should just watch for yourself. Steel wires can be climbed, but it's challenging due to their smooth and often high structure, especially when installed as part of a security barrier. This doesn't stop them though, as the pain of the razor-sharp steel wires does not even bother them with freedom on their minds. The prisoners successfully escape in less than a minute, showing this prison's biggest flaw. A makeshift rope made out of clothes becomes the key to freedom by a group of prisoners in this very intense video. Prisoners are observed methodically alternating, descending the rope in an unexpectedly coordinated manner, displaying a level of organization that is rather surprising. Everybody involved in this situation knows that they must work together if they want this very dangerous plan to work. Civilians may be inclined to report sightings or suspicious behavior related to escaped prisoners, but confrontation or apprehension is typically left to law enforcement. The people watching this very intense and dangerous breakout can't do anything but just watch and not interfere. Avoiding unnecessary interaction with prisoners reduces risks of manipulation, violence, and breaches of security protocols within correctional facilities. The cops eventually find out about the ongoing escape, but it's already too late. This intense chase begins with a man being recorded from a helicopter, trying to escape the cops chasing him close behind.
Acabaram de fugir do centro de detenção provisória do Belém. Deles atravessou a pista expressa da avenida, chegou a invadir uma empresa na região. Balança!
Escaped prisoners are caught through extensive searches, tips from the public, surveillance footage, and coordination between law enforcement agencies, leading to their eventual apprehension. This prisoner is surprisingly calm during his escape, even though he knows that dozens of cops are trailing him closely. Under this calm demeanor, he hides his fear as he needs to remain calm and collected if he wants to escape this chase successfully.
Paulo. Nesse momento, ele tenta despistar o helicóptero Águia da Polícia Militar. São momentos de tensão. O fugitivo coloca as mãos na cabeça e parece que vai se entregar.
Prisoners outrunning cops is rare due to law enforcement's training, resources, and coordination, but it can occur depending on various factors. Things are no different for this encounter as the chase is eventually stopped after this happens.
O local invade uma das empresas da região. Os vigilantes do lugar também auxiliam a polícia e tentam parar o homem, que pula um muro de arame farpado. Ele quase...
Fortunately, the prisoner successfully gets stopped, and he is put back in prison afterward. Using the night as cover, 4 prisoners skip sleep in order to try their long-awaited risky escape attempt. Using a rope made out of clothes as a means of escape, the prisoners help each other to get themselves out of prison.
Uma resposta ainda da Secretaria de Administração Penitenciária. A única coisa que eles confirmaram é realmente esse déficit, de número de policiais. Eles falam...
Seeing prisoners easily do this can be really concerning, as we often trust the prison system to keep us safe from violent criminals. This risky and very dangerous escape could go wrong in so many ways that it only adds to the intensity of their situation.
O ideal seria 1 para cada 5 presos e aqui na Papuda tem 1 para cada 10 presos, ou seja, 50% a menos.
The use of makeshift ropes in prison escapes is not uncommon. However, it depends on factors such as the availability of materials and the security measures in place. Unfortunately, cops are too slow to stop them, and they escape successfully. A prisoner having a phone to record this video already raises a red flag to the security of this prison. It's no secret that cell phones are not allowed to be in the hands of inmates while they're in prison, making this situation really concerning. What's more alarming is that no cop is present to guard the walls of this prison, allowing one prisoner to do this.
Conseguiu subir, ó. Conseguiu. Arrebentou a jiboia, cara. Entendeu, claro.
Prisoners watching the encounter cheer him on as he tries his best to climb the wall separating him from freedom. Prisoners climbing walls to escape is relatively rare, as modern security measures and surveillance technology make it difficult to evade detection.
Ó, Gabriel foi. Conseguiu subir.
The escape ends with the prisoner successfully climbing the wall and escaping to the other side. A CCTV camera captures something disastrous happening outside a high-security prison containing dangerous criminals. This daring escape shows the men trying to climb down the walls of the prison without alerting the guards inside.
As polícias civil e militar de Nova Esperança e de municípios da região estão à procura de 11 detentos que durante...
Despite the lingering fear of being caught in the middle of their escape, the inmates push through their anxiety as the outside world waits. After the intense climb, the prisoners finally reach the other side of the wall, running away as fast as they can after landing.
Domine presídio. As câmeras de segurança instaladas no prédio da delegacia e residências vizinhas filmaram.
Prison breakouts occur infrequently due to stringent security measures, but they do happen occasionally, often making headlines due to their rarity.
Presos pulando o muro do presídio. Na sequência, todos saem correndo e desaparecem. Os foragidos são...
The men who escaped in the video were later identified and caught within days. After smuggling a phone inside his cell, one prisoner decides to record his cellmate doing something extremely dangerous.
O vídeo que circula nas redes sociais mostra um dos apenados cavando o túnel pelo qual eles teriam fugido.
Daqui a pouco é mais aí no mundo.
This video certainly puts concern over our minds, as we are forced to wonder how prisoners can just dig their way out of their cells. Despite their current circumstance, the prisoners in the video can be heard laughing and can be seen smiling at the camera, disregarding the danger and the risks involved in what they're doing. He continues to record his friend until, eventually, this happens.
Pode crer.
Nesse outro vídeo, a gravação parece ter sido feita de dentro de uma cela da casa prisional e é possível ver algum...
Escaped prisoners are often captured within days of their escape, but the time frame can vary widely, depending on factors like their location, resources, and law enforcement efforts. Sadly, the clip ends there, and what happens next remains to be unknown. A police officer is shocked and becomes speechless after he discovers something very alarming while reviewing the security camera footage. When police officers discover a prison escapee, they initiate a pursuit, apprehend the individual, and return them to custody, often with additional charges. Unable to do anything about the current situation, he continues to watch the footage, only to discover another headache seconds later. Police catch escaped prisoners through extensive search efforts, including patrols, surveillance, tips from the public, and coordination with other law enforcement agencies. CCTV footage can provide valuable information on the direction of escape, appearance changes, and possible accomplices, aiding in identification and apprehension efforts by law enforcement. It is still unknown whether or not the suspects in the video have been caught. A group of prisoners can be seen hanging out in the yard while being guarded by a police officer on duty. At first, everything remains normal, but then the guard decides to leave the prisoners alone, leading some of them to do this.
Interior aí do Rio Grande do Sul. Eu digo alguns, mas me parece que conseguiu escapar. Veja aí, ó, imagens internas de presídio, olha os caras pulando ali.
Realizing that no one is watching them gives the inmates hope of escaping this prison and making it out earlier than they were sentenced to. They help each other climb the walls in order to escape, some failing to do so, but some refusing to give up their only chance of escape.
Uns caíram, viram? Alguns chegaram a colocar as mãos lá em cima da muralha, mas acabaram despencando. Agora, tchê, realmente
When prisoners are caught attempting to escape by climbing walls, they typically face disciplinary actions within the prison system and may also incur additional criminal charges.
Escalar e escapou mesmo desse presídio em qual local aí do Rio Grande do Sul, hein, tchê?
Em Sarandi, na região norte do estado.
One of the prisoners successfully manages to escape, embarrassing the security of this prison. Resembling a scene from Assassin's Creed, prisoners use rooftops as a means of escape, leading to this very intense chase.
E aí saíram pulando, como você bem disse, pelas casas vizinhas, como flagraram as câmeras de segurança. Dá só uma olhada ali no telhado daquela casa vizinha, os presos ali passando.
This dangerously frightening chase can easily lead to disaster, as one small mistake could lead to the prisoners falling and injuring themselves. Moments later, cops eventually catch up to the fleeing criminals, and what happens next is nothing short of terrifying.
Os policiais que estavam de plantão, que não tinham inclusive responsabilidade alguma de cuidar de preso, perceberam a ação e olha só, os policiais já saem atirando.
This intense situation endangers not only the lives of the criminals and the police officers, but also the civilians around the area. The cops immediately open fire at the dangerous criminals trying to escape, scaring them in the process and making them run faster.
Para tentar conter ali a fuga e evitar que os mais de 70 presos que estavam ali na mesma ala conseguissem ganhar a liberdade forçada.
Unfortunately, the clip ends there, and it is unknown if the criminals ever got caught. Prison riots can be extremely dangerous, posing risks of injury or death to inmates, staff, and even bystanders, and may lead to significant property damage. Additionally, prison riots can result in prison escapes by creating chaos and distracting staff, thereby allowing inmates the opportunity to breach security measures and flee. The reality of the situation is that when things eventually get out of control, like in this clip, a few cops will never be enough to stop the chaos. This clip shows this very exact scenario as prisoners use the chaos that's currently going on in order to do this. Various factors, including lapses in security, inmate desperation, inadequate supervision, or corruption within the prison system, can cause prison escapes. The cops eventually control the situation, but they are a little too late. Prisoner uprisings pose significant dangers, typically resulting in violence, injuries, and damage to property within correctional facilities.
Ai, o bagulho tá doido no Copecã, viu? Ai, o bagulho no Copecã é assim, ai. Olha como é que nós faz, ai.
As the prisoner continues recording, he and his friend in the video eventually meet up with the other inmates, showcasing this terrifying rebellion.
Ai, 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 no Copecã, como é que nós tira as portas?
Police can face challenges in stopping prisoner uprisings due to the need to manage large crowds, contain violence, and protect both inmates and staff.
Tá ligado, né? E o bagulho é daquele jeito, viu? Ai, como é que tá o bagulho?
Prisoners may sneak phones inside by hiding them on their person or in items brought into the facility, exploiting gaps in security checks.
Aí, ai, 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 é isso aí!
It is unknown if the prisoners in the video really followed through with their plan. This clip shows cop cars and helicopters scouting around the prison area in order to look for the prisoners who recently escaped. Unfortunately, it seems that they are already too late, as another video captured earlier shows the prisoners out and about on the streets. It is unknown how these prisoners managed to escape, but one thing's for sure, this situation could have been avoided with better security measures. Meeting a prison escapee can be dangerous due to the potential for the escapee to be desperate, unpredictable, and possibly armed. If encountering a prison escapee, prioritize your safety by avoiding confrontation, contacting law enforcement immediately, and providing any relevant information about the encounter. Hopefully, they were able to track down these dangerous criminals quickly. Sneaking phones in prison can be challenging due to security measures like metal detectors and searches, but it still occurs through various methods. This video proves that no matter how impossible it may seem, criminals will always find a way to smuggle their phones into prison. The prisoners in the video can be seen hanging out with each other while displaying and showcasing different kinds of contraband to the camera.
Foram pelo menos 4 detentos. Foi cavado durante vários dias, mas nenhum agente e nem a direção do local perceberam o buraco.
The general punishment for prisoners sneaking in phones varies, but typically includes disciplinary measures like loss of privileges or solitary confinement. As if sneaking in a phone isn't bad enough, the recording then proceeds to show them flexing a tunnel they dug as a means of escape.
Tranquilamente, parece fumar cigarro de maconha. De fato, os problemas causados pela falta de estrutura física do prédio podem também...
Digging a tunnel in prison is extremely difficult due to the intensive security measures, constant monitoring, and reinforced infrastructure, making it highly unlikely to succeed. Unfortunately, what happens next remains to be unknown as the clip ends shortly after. Sneaking contraband into prison is difficult due to security protocols, but it still happens through creative methods like smuggling or corrupt staff involvement.
Surpresa, fundo falso. E nesse fundo falso, é uma embalagem normal de margarina, viu, gente? Eu vou te falar, o sujeito tem habilidade, pra ser...
Smugglers can get highly creative, resorting to methods like concealing contraband in food and clothing, or even using drones for aerial drops. This clip shows that not all illegal contraband sneaks through using complicated methods. Sometimes it can come in simple, everyday items.
Cada coisa, não? É criatividade. Olha lá, achou. Olha a surpresinha. Como é que consegue fazer uma embalagem, rapaz? Olha lá, celular.
Videos like these really make us wonder how contraband gets into prison, despite the high security system they implement. This video only shows that prison systems should be more secure and that police officers should thoroughly check incoming items. In this clip, the contraband is eventually revealed to be hidden inside the food container.